judging by a post Ohara Davies put up on social media just recently, it seems to confirm that he has indeed officially parted company with his longtime trainer, Tony Sims. And you have to assume, although I don't have evidence for this, that he's also parted company with his manager, Peter Sims. Now, subsequent to Davis being pulled by Eddie Hearn from the February 3rd show at the O2, Hearn has done a couple of interviews where he's addressed the Ohara Davies situation. He said that, this isn't the first time Davis has said something highly controversial. He said he's been called before the board a number of times to explain things that he said before. So this was the straw that broke the camel's back, essentially. I'm paraphrasing, but this is essentially what Hearn is saying. And he also said kind of what I suggested in my Ohara Davies video a couple of weeks back, that Ohara Davies is being dragged down to the level of the people who are abusing him on social media. What you fight is what you become very often. And again, that's what Eddie Hearn seems to be suggesting. Ohara Davies has been dragged down to their level. And it's an easy trap for people to get caught up in, especially when they've got a lot of social media attention and there's a lot of people abusing them. When you're a young guy like Ohara who's got a lot of pride, you can easily get caught up in that situation where you get dragged down to certain people's level. And Ohara is a trash talker in the first place, so he's going to attract people who are going to say certain things about him, not to justify anything that people have said to Ohara Davies regarding, racial abuse and whatever, not at all. But you're going to, negativity begets negativity, basically. You're going to get negative regardless, but the more negative things you say, the more negative things you're going to attract. You're never going to attract 100% positive. You're never going to attract 100% negative, but you get what I'm saying. So where does Ohara Davies go from here? I think some people in the comment section of my previous Ohara Davies video made some good suggestions, like Ohara Davies potentially joining David Haye. The only issue there is, does David Haye have enough shows to get Ohara Davies out frequently? That's the problem. That's the potential issue there. Because David Haye on Dave doesn't have a whole heap of different shows every year. He's only got a limited amount. So he would then be relying on putting Ohara Davies on the shows of other promoters in order to keep him active. That's what he's doing with Joe Joyce at the moment, so I believe. So would other promoters be willing to have Ohara Davies on their shows, given how controversial he's been? And I know he's at a fairly decent level. I guess he's moved above British level. He's at least at European level. At that kind of level, can you get away with only fighting 3-4 times a year? Maybe you can. But again, Ohara Davies is potentially in the process of maybe rebranding himself a little bit. I don't know. But the reason why I think the David Haye suggestion is a good suggestion is because David Haye has been in plenty of controversial situations himself. He's somebody who Ohara Davies, I think, would look up to. Young people look up to successful individuals in terms of people who have made money. This is who young people look up to. Maybe Ohara looks at a guy like a Tunde Ajayi, his former trainer, and Tony Sims, also now his former trainer, and says, well, you guys are not really that successful. You guys were not successful professional boxers. Maybe he's thinking this in the back of his head. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here. But when he looks at a man like David Haye, a man who has all the money, a man who's been world champion, a man who's been in big fights, a man who's been in controversial situations, maybe Ohara will be more willing to listen to a guy like that. Maybe David Haye can speak Ohara's language in a certain sense. He knows where Ohara's coming from. He's been in Ohara's position before. And maybe that would resonate with Ohara. So I think the David Haye suggestion is a good suggestion. I had been talking about potentially the Eubanks, but David Haye, it could be a decent fit. David Haye might be a little more careful now than he used to be because he's dealing with a television company directly and Dave. So he's got his own reputation to uphold. But as I say, I think there could be some type of mutual understanding there between the two of them. It's just an issue of, does David Haye have enough dates for Ohara Davies? So yeah, those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below about the whole Ohara Davies situation. Will he leave Matchroom? Because Eddie Hearn said that he don't know if he's going to work with Ohara Davies again. He said he's not closing the door on it, but he don't know whether he's actually going to do it. So maybe Ohara will leave Eddie Hearn too. And he also said that Ohara looked horrified when Eddie Hearn suggested that he come off social media. And it could be that Ohara is addicted to social media. A lot of people are in this day and age. But it could also be that Ohara maybe felt like Eddie Hearn was trying to control him a little bit too much. And Ohara being an independent-minded kind of guy, I guess that's how he would like to view himself, as being his own man. Maybe he don't like the idea of somebody telling him, do this, do that. You know, maybe he's rebellious to that, potentially. So I don't know what the situation is, but we may not see Ohara Davies working with Eddie Hearn again. I think it all comes down to whether Ohara Davies is willing to change, essentially, and do as he's told by Eddie Hearn. That's what it seems to be. That's what Eddie Hearn seems to be suggesting, that if Ohara does as he's told, you know, and apologizes and says, okay, Eddie, I'm going to do exactly what you want me to do. If he does that, then it seems he'll probably be allowed back on Matchroom shows and be working with Eddie Hearn again. But is Ohara Davies's pride going to allow him to do that? That's the question, you know. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. Some people are also saying, look, all this is Eddie Hearn's fault. He's the one who encouraged Ohara Davies in the first place to be controversial. And now that O'Hara's being controversial, Eddie Hearn is acting as though he had no hand in it. So, yeah, let me know how you feel, people. It's happening. I'm out.